Hi everybody, my name's Christy Delk, and I am really excited today because this is my very first Facebook Live post, and I have been truly enjoying my summer. I hope you have been too. And one of the things that I did, and I hope you've had some time for yourself to take off, is in addition to starting to talk more and more about my book, is I took a nice trip overseas to Europe and Greece and Italy, to be specific, where I saw a lot of pillars. And the reason why that is significant is that my book, which I have right here, Adventures in Franchise Ownership, the 4 Pillars to Strengthen, Protect, and Grow Your Business, features pillars. And so I have pillars on the brain. The trip was awesome. You know, if you've seen me before, you probably can see I'm a little bit more tan. My dress is definitely a little bit tight. But I came away with some great, more enthusiasm and more reflection on what I need to do to move forward. And so I thought for this very first video, what would be appropriate really for me to talk about and for us to, hopefully get some dialogue going is that subject of challenging yourself. And I love to challenge myself. My students, my poor students, they know that because it bleeds into what I ask them to do. But for me to you, because I want you to get to know me a bit, that is part of what drives me. And I want to, if you're searching a little bit for motivation in your business and maybe even your personal life, but specifically your business, my hope is that when we get together, which the plan is for every other Thursday at 1:30, to spend a few minutes on Facebook Live, and hopefully you'll walk away or turn off and be just a little bit more challenged and motivated to approach what it is that you need to approach. Sometimes we don't always know what that is. And I found as a business owner, and while the book is entitled Adventures in Franchise Ownership, I believe, and I've been told multiple times, which is one reason why I believe it more strongly, is that the things that we'll talk about, the things that I talk about in the book, really apply to almost anybody that's in business, whether you're in business for yourself or you're a general manager for a large company, running a restaurant or a division or something like that. But how, or obviously a franchise owner, but how do you make sense of all the things that you need to do, and how do you ensure that your business continues to grow or you continue to grow and thrive? And so I incorporate a lot of that in the book, but here's where I'm going. Every year that I owned my franchise, which was for 15 years, but for years before that, almost without exception, I focused on a particular book. It was either something that I had, somebody had referred me to, or something that I just saw and picked up and thought, this looks like what I need right now. And I can't impress upon you enough how motivating that was and how much that helped me to find direction, sorry about the phone, when I needed it. And where I'm going with this is that if you're in that position where you want to move further in your career or your franchise or in your business endeavors, Adventures in Franchise Ownership might be an option for you. So I'll tell you more about the book in later Facebook Live segments, but for now I want to suggest that by reading books, and in my book I mention Peaks and Valleys, I mentioned The Energy Bus, I mentioned The Originals by Adam Grant, Great Leaders Ask Good Questions, and probably 2 or 3 more. So I try to incorporate what I think is the salient things, the most salient thing from the book that helped me in there. So when it comes to summer, reading is a really important part. So I challenge you to find something, whether it's a podcast or a book or some other forum. Maybe you start attending a bi-weekly conference class or something that gets you focused on what you want to do in the coming year. In my book, I talk about method management. That's one of the 4 pillars. And that's a framework that I outline, but it's the framework that I used to continue to build on the platforms I had created and build and build and build. But I always needed inspiration, and the best way to get that is obviously surround yourself with positive people who have things that you can learn from and are willing and able to engage you and help you. But also you have to have a framework. Otherwise, you're kind of just all over the place. And I'm one of those people, and people that know me will tell you this, I juggle. But the way I do it is I compartmentalize. So for business, for example, it would be, what am I going to work on in terms of building loyalty? What specifically am I going to work on this year? In terms of leadership, it would be, what specifically am I going to focus on this year that's going to move my business forward in a very specific way? In other words, don't take off or bite off too much. So a framework is really, really helpful. Otherwise, you and I tend to get all convoluted with many different things that we have pressing on us. When I owned my business, and it was a Kids Are Kids Academy franchise in Orlando, I was a mom. I was a single mom with a young boy. He was 3. Obviously I had a household to run, and I had a 50+ odd employees to manage, and clients and all that stuff. And so I know how it can be. Right now, I told you we were going to get to know each other a little bit. I'm planning a wedding in November. I'm getting ready to teach school at Rollins College, which I love doing. And I'm promoting this book and doing everything I can to help the right people that this would benefit, learn enough about it that you say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take her up on her challenge. And we're on Amazon, we're on Target, we're on barnesandnoble.com. And I think there's a promotion that we're doing for Kendall starting July 27th. And I think it's going to be $3. Maybe it runs 3 or 4 days. But I don't want this to be just a plug about my book. I want to just encourage you to be thinking about, I'm going to take that challenge, whether it's this book or another book. And I think that's probably about enough time for today. I'm trying to think if I skipped anything that I wanted to mention. Oh, if you have questions or are curious about something, please, by all means, send them over, and I'll do my very best. If I can't address them live in 2 weeks, I'll do them personally to you. So my email, I guess I'll go ahead and give you that, is Christy@ChristyWilsonDelk.com. So thank you very much. I hope you've had a terrific day. Oh, one more thing. I have a helper reminding me. So in my book, there we go about the book again, I have 16 different franchisees who have contributed in a very big way. They've given advice, they've given me their time, which obviously they're giving it to you. One of the contributors was Chick-fil-A. And basically, I read a book, there's another one, called How'd You Do It, Truett. And it was based on Truett Cathy, who is the founder of Chick-fil-A, his story and how he ran his business. And it's a beautiful book. It's a short read. I highly recommend it. But I sent him, Mr. Cathy's son, Dan Cathy, a copy of the book, and he sent me back the nicest letter, thanking me and congratulating me. I was truly touched. And then I got this. This is a Be Our Guest coupon. And they're famous for this. This is part of their brand. But right after I sign off, I'm going to Chick-fil-A and get my chicken sandwich because I'm pretty hungry. I didn't have any lunch. So anyway, take care. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks.